1959. I'm counting that as an early start, or arguably a dead-on start, given my clock just switched to 8. Hello, everyone. It's Railnetter. This should be not a live episode. It's I was supposed to be hanging around down in Tuxford all day for shenanigans. More on this later in relation to the bonus episode. But I did record this intro for you to look at. However, for some reason, the audio is completely fried. So it's ended up being a good job that I got home early and I'm doing a live one instead rather than the pre-record, because the audio is fried. It does mean, however, that I've got approximately 1.5 minutes to now yak on, sorry, James, while this train, as you can see in the background for the audio-only listeners, approaches from the background and gets closer and closer. Today was 5 Hydrogen First down at Tuxford as part of Test Tracks. It's why I've got a thing behind me that I'll show you momentarily. It's why I'm here in my full Network Rail oranges, looking pleased and excited with myself, with my moustache wibbling all over the place. And why I have a Gronk approaching me slowly and ominously from the background. I wasn't going to inflict this sound on you. It's just so horrible. It's dreadful. I'm so sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry, because I've muted it, which means you have to listen to me. So, look, there it goes. There's a train. Oh, look. It's a Hydro Gronk. It's Vanguard's 08H. Behind it is a Class 93. Woo. There it goes. That was the middle of doing some stuff. What am I doing? What am I saying? I'm describing what the train is. You're seeing it go past. I'm looking very pleased with myself. I'm treading air so that I got you a nice moment of train. I presume I'm going to turn around and say something like, welcome to tonight's Railnetter. Yeah, there we go. No, we're not going to do that yet, because I'm going to say the usual Patreon plugs. Thank you to all those who support me on Patreon. You make this happen, and I'm going to take my big grin, 93005, and then I am going to say welcome to tonight's Railnetter. And as the Intercity 225 fades away... Hello, everyone. Oh, that's a lot of headroom. Oh, yeah, that's because I was recording for the BBC. Shout out to the BBC there for doing a bit of recording with me earlier. No, beaching. No, beaching. Behave. There we go, that'll do. Beaching is my framing. It cuts off the top. Beaching cut. Sorry, yes. Anyway, for more on that and why I have this double arrow behind me on a headboard, well, stay tuned. But anyway, no, this is going to be probably quite a tight episode, possibly even a very short episode. Related to, so 2 years ago, stop waffling, 2 years ago I presented a slide deck to several of York's councillors who are involved in transport. There's the incoming Labour administration within York, the council, and to several of the highways officers in the council, some of whom were interested, several of whom scowled at me the whole time. You'll understand why when I get to the end of the slide deck, because I'm going to show you the slide deck, annotated by my face between shots. But I'm going to go through that slide deck because I think it helps explain some of the challenges that York, a city that should be very good, has with transport, because it is in fact a dreadful city when it comes to moving around. What's interesting, what prompted me to think, oh, you know what, I can do this, other than the fact that it was a cheap episode, was that Jonathan Cowart, correct me if I'm wrong on that, from Y01 Radio, the kind of one of the local radio stations, kind of pitched this question. He did it twice because both times you lot and me mobbed the answers, and no conflicty, no cars are great people came in at all. It was just me. So Y01 Radio, I'm not sorry, because it turns out you got lots of very good answers from all the Railnetter people. The question of the day was, what's the answer to York's traffic problems? To which the short answer is fewer cars, because that's the only answer to traffic. The only way you solve traffic is by having fewer cars. There's no clever fix. There is only have fewer cars. And it turns out that the way that you make have fewer cars, that's the more interesting question. So the more interesting question really is, how do you reduce the number of cars that come through York? I'm going to be honest with you, that's basically how we're going to answer today's this question and what we're going to cover in today's episode. it will involve, firstly, talking a bit about the transport hierarchy, which I think I've alluded to in previous episodes, but this is going to be the episode where we're going to put it back on screen and think a bit about it, and think about the way it applies and how that works materially, with York as our case study. This is going to be the first of, I think, quite a few episodes looking at York. It might be that I do a few shorter episodes in and around York. I might do some more shorts about York as well. So, yeah, there's the transport hierarchy. We're going to look at the transport hierarchy. And, oh, yeah, look, it's me in a small bit of rectangle. Let's get rid of my face. So, this is the transport hierarchy. Number one on the transport hierarchy is walking, buggies, mobility aids, people in wheelchairs. That's number one. It's people, self-motive, or with mobility aids, moving around, disabled people, people with kids, fine. Roller skates, sure. Number one. Number two in the transport hierarchy. So that's the first priority. And how this applies, I'll explain shortly. Number two on the hierarchy is wheels. So scooters, bicycles, cargo bikes, so on, so forth. Number three is business cargo bikes. It's trailers. It's little electric buggy things. It's the big tricycles that have, a thing of pre-Tropicana oranges on it. Things of this nature is number three. Number four is public transport. Tram, bus, train, etc. Number five is motorized delivery vehicles and taxis. Note there is no HGVs on the transport hierarchy, by the way. Number six is private cars. And that is the order in which we must think about urban transport. That is the order. That is the priority. You'll notice that public transport is way down the list because, frankly, it's not the first thing you should be thinking about when it comes to mobility around an urban space. It's people, human mobility, that is the priority, that is the top of the list. Number one, and then number two is bicycling. Number three is then those larger vehicles, including the little electric sort of buggy things. And then number four is public transport. Number five and six are mean colours like orange and yellow and red, because they are things that we should be thinking about way down the list in terms of priorities. So, let's make my face half size again and crack on. So, when I talk, what do I mean? My presentation. Oh yeah, I should have given you the first slide of like what was the slide that I did as my presentation front page, actually, because it's kind of funny. But basically, the slide deck was Fortress York. That was the way that I framed this, is that Fortress York and the problems associated with it. So, what do I mean by when I talk about Fortress York? What do I mean by this? Because York, as lots of people know, is a fortress, is a historic fortress. So, well, we'll get into it, but this was presented 2 years ago when the wee one was about a year old, and I'd had about a year of pushing the wee one around in buggies, walking around with the wee one, as the thumbnail shows me, bouncing the wee one around, strapped to me in a carrier. Delightful, happy period of my life. One of the most annoying and stressful things I found, this is only one aspect of why transport is hopeless, but one of those frustrating and annoying things I found was just how horrifyingly noisy, unpleasant, and deprioritized pedestrians are, let alone if you've then got a buggy and have to navigate your way around. So this is what I was learning. Me pushing the buggy around with the wee one and getting increasingly irate at how hopeless everything is. So here is York from an aerial view. Very briefly, I'm going to go large face and say hello again, but also we've got a couple of questions which I'm going to just pick up just before we get started. So Gareth is saying, what was the purpose of this presentation you did for the council? It was to kind of excite them about the possibilities. I was asked 2 years ago, to come in by the Labour Council to kind of excite those highways officers about the potential, moonshot type possibilities for what you can do with York to really improve things. I would say that what I'm about to present to you is largely unremarkable. I'm sorry to make you unhappy, Gareth. I did spot your comment earlier. We're not going to be talking about trains in this one. Spoiler alert. Well, we are, because I'll talk about trains at the end with the hydrogen stuff, but we'll get there. But this is because Rail Natter is actually about how rail fits into the wider transport system. This is one of those wider transport system episodes. So, this is what it's all about. So, maybe in the bonus, actually, if you're a bonus subscriber, if you're a Patreon subscriber, and you want to talk about how I do this stuff and how you do the convincing of councils to do this. Well, this is one way of doing it. It's pulling together, get your local me, or maybe just me, to come in and look at your local area that your council covers and think about what the opportunities are, what the long-term brilliant stuff could be, and get them excited about that. Because quite often they're so trapped in their day-to-day, desperately trying to get through the backlog of permissions and tweaks and new bits of paint here and there, that they just haven't got time to think about what the future can look like, what the ideal solution is. Also, you get highways officers that are completely hopeless and just have absolutely no imagination for the future and try and just build bypasses everywhere in the middle of the city. And York, wonderfully, is an example of that. So let's have a look. You might, am I appearing behind the green in the background? You might get little flashes of me in the background of some of these because I'm going to do my half-face filter thing and there's lots of greenery. So that's fine. Here is York. Look at it. You can see a very... Okay, firstly, you can see a lot of fun railway stuff over here. Look, it's the fun railway stuff that I'm scribbling over. Okay, fine. Park the fun railway stuff. You can see the urban core. Here it is. And in brown here, I've highlighted where the walls of York are. York's famous walls. And you'll see that these walls don't provide a full circle, but they do neatly, they're not continuous, not least because there's a river in the way, but they do fairly neatly kind of spread a ring around York's city centre. Now, currently, that area that I've just shaded in light blue is the nominally, not fully, but nominally pedestrianised part of the city centre of York. And the way into the city... Well, there are about 14 ways to get into the city. And you'll notice that the wall is not the barrier to these. That the wall is not the issue here. There are lots of ways through the wall. The wall is not the problem. So let's go round these 14 entrance points into the city and have a look at what these look like when you leave. Let's say, rather than entering the city, let's say you're in the city centre and you're going out to your hotel and you've got to go out of any one of these 14 different directions. So let's start at number 1, Bootham. What's the first thing you see? Well, the first thing you see is a wall of tarmac. This square encapsulates 2.5 millennia of architecture. Fantastic, fascinating historical site. Bulldozed through by the inner ring road. So number 1, that's what you come across. You come across a enormous moat of tarmac. Okay, so number 1, hopeless. You're blocked in. There is no way of comfortably and happily, and let's say in the case of this example, being a daddy with a baby that is instantly awoken by any form of sound, hopeless. You're trapped. You can't get out that way. Okay, so let's try number 2, shall we? Fairly close to the Minster. Surely this one's better, isn't it? Oh, that's right. You're at Monk Bar, and next to Monk Bar Models. Yes, wonderful. You're at Monk Bar, and you're looking out, and you have an enormous wall of tarmac. Okay, so there we go. You're stuck, and if you want to make your way out... Oh, I should have said, the previous one, you can see up here, we have a green arrow because there is a cycle path that connects up, but it doesn't actually go into the city centre. It connects up here. You can see kind of up here, but then it doesn't actually go into the city centre, so you're stuck. Whereas for this access, at Monk Bar, there's nothing. There is no green, quiet way. I'm going to call them quiet ways. There is no quiet way out in any direction. Ellis Simon, don't think I've not spotted you in there. There's no quiet way out of Monk Bar. You're stuck, trapped. Surely number 3, better, right? Number 3, it's at the end of one part of the walls. This is Layerthorpe, where the old near Foss Bank, where the old Sainsbury's was, now closed. RIP to that quite useful middle-sized Sainsbury's. Number 3, possibly the worst offender of them all. Absolutely horrifying mass of concrete. This junction itself is going to be a future episode because it's a really good way of thinking about the transport hierarchy and how you redesign urban space. But this is horrible. Look at the state of it. Notice, by the way, when you cycle along here, cycle along there, you notice that the cycle lane stops and there isn't one. What's nice is that this road lane continues through here, and as you then have to filter, you have to filter into traffic through that junction. It is awful. It's one of those situations that just like the road should be closed. It's that dangerous. So number 3, absolutely hopeless. You've got some kind of quiet ways out of the city, but you end up on a busy road and there's no way to then get out of the city. So that's another, nope, you're trapped. Hopeless. Okay, number 4. Number 4, well, you know what? You can see in the aerial there's an enormous retail park here, but you're next to the Foss, Little River Foss. So surely there's a quiet way alongside the Foss, right? Bzzzt, nope. Oh, look. It's another wall of tarmac. You come along the Foss, and you've got this enormous wall of tarmac to deal with. And do you know what's great? There's another wall of tarmac that you get to on the other side of the Morrisons as well. So in this case, you've got two massive roads to contend with. So in this case, you've got this wall of horror of car park and road. Do you know what's worse about this? Is that on the other side of all that is probably the best arterial cycle route in York, which happens to go out to where I live. Brilliant. And then useless. Trapped. So hopeless. So basically might as well not be there. No safe way. Also, by the way, the route from the hospital, actually these two routes connect to each other. Either side over here, I should point out that nominally there's a bit of a gap on this one, of course, because there is, because it's Britain. And this then means that you either coming from the north, coming from other parts of York, and you're stuck on against the Boricum Way and James Street, or you're kind of coming down the old DVLR and you hit the horror show. So again, absolutely hopeless. So far you're out of luck. You are stuck in the centre of York. Number 5. Oh yeah, it's Walngate. Oh, it's bad, folks. Walngate is also completely horrifying and hopeless. Just absolutely dreadful. It's the end of Hull Road. It's a real horrifying mess. Yep. And you know what's fun is that there is a nominally marked cycle route that gets you to hit the inner ring road and get no further. And there is Walngate, which is Fossgate and Walngate, which are kind of quite nice, quiet roads. They're not perfect. They often get Walngate often gets quite congested with stuff kind of trying to get in and out of York. But nominally, those two could be a route in and out along Hull Road and so on. But no, this time, once again, totally blocked off. Okay, maybe number 6. Where's number 6? Number 6 is down by the Barbican. What was that? Fishergate. Let's have a look at Fishergate. No. You look through this lovely little arch in the wall and you hit the Fishergate gyratory, which is hell. Brilliant. So, no. Still stuck. All of these pictures are looking out from the city to the rest of York. Yes, that's right. So number 6, disaster. Horrible. Also a route of cycling in and out, except, again, you have a wall of tarmac between you and the horrible sort of side-to-side gates and stuff. This is not good enough. What about number 7? Remember, our test case is frazzled daddy with baby and carrier. Number 7. Not only do you hit a road, you hit a dual carriageway. This is Piccadilly. Coming out from Piccadilly, you have a dual carriageway between you and any of the rest of York. Absolutely horrifying. So that's hopeless, just an utter disaster. Okay, so number 8. Surely at this point, by this point, we're getting close to the end of the nap. I'm desperately trying to find somewhere quiet to escape. Actually, I'll tell you what I normally do, which was I would normally desperately half walk, half jog across all the car park nonsense by the Morrisons to get over onto the DVLR. Just praying and hoping that there wouldn't be a particularly loud car. What a life that was. It was marvellous, actually, but extremely stressful. Number 8. Surely number 8. Oh, my goodness. This is the bit where I'm like, I should have had me drop. I should have had a drop box. Look at this. Number 8. Look. This is what it should look like. We have a cycle lane. We have a pedestrian footpath. We have the ability to get into York without any interrupting traffic. We're free from roads. This is waiting for sound deck to load. I'm padding because my sound deck is loading. This is heaven. This is the good stuff, right? This is what it is all about. So that this is good. We're happy about this. So I don't know why I opened 3 of those sound decks, but let's not worry about that too much. Right, so, good. Number 8. Number 8 is a route in. Look at that. It is a route in. You'll notice, though, that I've added the mess that is kind of Coppergate into the horrible car park next to Clifford's Tower, and then the little bit of green that exists around there, but just locked in because the horrible car park that gets you across from Fossgate just locks you out. And also Piccadilly is a horrible horrible show. So let's see. Number 8. It works. It's marvellous. What about number 9? Number 9 as well. Okay, it's not perfect because you have to come off Skeldergate, but Skeldergate has been calmed a bit. Number 9. You can get underneath Skeldergate Bridge and escape the city. So south out of the city along the River Ouse. Great, it works. That is a way in and out of the city. That is marvellous. We're so happy about this. So There we go. So you have a way in and out of the city. From the south, you can get into the city. So for those people who live on Bishy Road, this is why they're very happy. Good. Everything's absolutely perfect and great, right? No, because it's York, and the River Ouse floods annually and wipes out both of those accesses into the city. So, whilst they are wonderful when they are open, they are not reliable during winter. So, Anyway, moving on from that. Let's look at number 10. Where's number 10? I don't remember what number 10 is. It's one of the slightly weird accesses that I don't entirely remember the name. It's like Victor Street or something. I don't remember what the name of this particular access through the wall is, but here it is. Look, there it is. And again, theoretically, connects up to cycling infrastructure that goes down towards Bishy Road, etc. But it's a wall of tarmac. You're hitting. This heads up to Nunnery Lane. This is an extremely congested bit of, again, the inner ring road. So, number 10, hopeless. What about number 11? Number 11, Micklegate. Micklegate Bar. Is it going to be any good? Well, anyone who knows Micklegate Bar will know that this junction is like a record keeper for the UK's longest wait between pedestrian crossing lights. So, no, this is a enormous wall of tarmac. Yeah, Gareth is pointing out that'll be why the other ones haven't been taken over by tarmac, because God forbid cars should be inconvenienced by flooding. Yeah, quite. So, no, this is not good. Micklegate, and then as you know, this whizzes down to the railway station. So, number 11. What's also important is that this is an entire huge section of York that has absolutely no green access in and out of the city centre. You can see that there is kind of nominally some connectivity in and out of the city on the eastern side of York, whether it's the DVLR or whether it's some of the infrastructure that goes down towards the university, Hes Road. It's not perfect. DVLR is great. Other bits aren't perfect, but there is some infrastructure. There is some infrastructure that takes you down to Bishy Road and kind of out. It's not too bad. But if you want to go down Taddy Road, if you want to head down Tadcaster Road, there's very little. There has been some improvement, but it's largely on-road cycle lanes. There is some improvement in that direction. So since I did this 2 years ago, there has been some improvement. So that green question mark is maybe not quite as fair, given there is other infrastructure that has sort of been put in. But for that section, basically the section on the aerial that you've got there, no, actually, it's basically all on-road, which I'm sorry, paint doesn't count. Paint is arguably worse than it not being there in the first place, because drivers think you should be in your little gutter and not out in the middle of the road protecting yourself. So, no, paint, bad. Okay, right. We're going past the railway station. We're going to number 12. Number 12 is the main way that the majority of people get into the city centre, because York railway station is one of the busiest outside of London for tourists coming in and having a good time, having a knees up and then splaying yourselves out in the middle of Coney Street at 2 a.m. Number 12. Let's see. From the railway station into York. Is it good? Is it bad? Oh. It's a horror show. Anyone who's walked from this railway station into York will know that you are a guest in another gyratory, allowing traffic to smoosh in and out of walls that have been, by the way, smashed through to let the road make its way in and out of the city. So, this is also bad. 12 is really bad, in fact. The whole lot is a total mess. Now, there again are some improvements going on, but the improvements continue to have the inner ring road running right the way through them. So, nope, I'm sorry, all the work that's gone on to improve York Station frontage, it is still not good enough. Okay, so please let us have a route through on number 13. We're nearly out of ways in and out of York, and so far we've identified 2 seasonal-only safe accesses, and both of them are basically the same one either side of the river. So, relevant to this is the fact that another major issue you've got within the centre of York is the fact that you've got these largely pedestrianised accesses onto Ousegate Bridge, but Ousegate is horrible. It's a horrible, busy, messy road because it's a major thoroughfare for everything kind of getting through the heart of the city centre. So hopeless. It's locked in. You can't actually use that to get down onto the good cycle routes, particularly the Eldergate side. But 13. So 13, okay, you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. This is traffic free, and it is. The trouble is, like, yes, you can get in from on the other side. You've got the access. It works to get you through, but it dumps you out on the wrong side of Ousgate Bridge, which, as we pointed out, you're then you have to negotiate to get across with your bicycle. So it's not providing you a safe access, not a very good safe access into the city centre. It's not great. 14, surely 14 by the library, by the or near the library. It's next to the. It's basically from Museum Garden, or what is it? Museum Gardens out across onto Lendl. It's next to the Costa, and then on your way down to Spring Espresso. Those who know. Number 14. Oh no, this is Lendl Bridge, and it's some of the most congested bits of road in York. The air pollution is dreadful, and an area that should be public realm, frankly, where this wonderful connection from the green spaces out along the river into the city centre are blocked by this wall of horrible congestion. Oh yeah, and by the way, I should have said number 13. Gareth, you're absolutely spot on. This also floods seasonally. So 14, you are locked out by the inner ring road once more. So quite simply, does anyone spot the problem here? Does anyone work out what the issue is here? Yeah, what is it that's causing the headache here and causing the problem? What is that big red ring strangling York? It isn't the walls. The walls aren't the problem. It's the bloody inner ring road. Oh, look, it's me. It's me in the... Hello. Right, so transport hierarchy. Think about the transport hierarchy. So how do we break into the fortress? How do we smash through this horrible fortress? The reason I put the transport hierarchy up is that given that we've got an inner ring road that's number 6. It's the bottom of the priority. And why is that more important than absolutely every other form of transport in York? Eating the train. Right, anyway, so sorry. How do we break into the fortress? So here is the inner ring road with the only actual access. This is the truth of the situation, by the way. One single clean access into the centre of York, which, by the way, you still hit Ousgate, like you still hit the main road when you reach the end of that access in, and there's no clean way that isn't cobbled either to actually get you into the city centre. So even this one is imperfect, but I'm going to give this one, but it means there is one way in and out of York that is essentially quiet and fairly traffic free. Again, with caveats. So number one way to break through the fortress is to start with the main way people get into York, which is from the railway station, and it is to open up access from the station. This is the number one key priority. Smash the inner ring road to pieces. End it. Destroy it. Get rid of the inner ring road at that part of York. Remove it. And all of a sudden, you are opening up access from the railway station, from the green parts, from the museum, from York Central. You are creating a quiet, comfortable, and critically, quite comfortable, safe, and clean access through from a major new part of York that's being built, as well as all of our lovely green space into the urban core. But also, crucially, you are creating huge amounts of potential new public realm. Don't sell it off. New amounts of public realm by getting rid of all that stupid tarmac, all that horrible gyratory nonsense. You can just get rid of it and turn it into public realm. You can put shipping containers on it with a Oaxaca so that people can have burritos on the street. That's the good stuff, says the obvious middle class guy. So that's number one. Number two, Bootham is a horror show. Gillygate is one of the it desperately clings on to being a reasonably thriving independent shopping street, despite the inner ring road being congested and horrible right the way through the middle of it. And so pedestrianising Gillygate is a thing you can do here. Expanding the city centre into Museum Gardens so that Museum Gardens becomes green space that is part of the core of the urban area. This is not saying get rid of it. I'm saying you bring it into the urban core. So Gillygate becomes pedestrianised. You then create a lovely route through via the gallery and Gallery Square into Museum Gardens. Gallery becomes a major centre point. That whole square that's very lovely. You get rid of all of the permanent tarmac in there, and you create a 3 millennia of history. Suddenly, that becomes a major focal point for York. Really, really massive opportunities. And you'll see that a lot of attention on that side because that's one of the most important accesses out across the museum, to the museums, plural, and so on and so on. Do at me if you've got questions. So that's number two. And number three, okay, I'm biased on this one. So when I was prioritizing what 3 things can you do, this was a major one. But this is a major part of access into York, and it is a major problem. And what do you do here? Well, you get rid of the inner ring road again. Just get rid of it entirely from the wall, the road that runs alongside the. Well, it's not really through the wall, but there's a huge wide bit of road there that runs from Walmgate up to Layerthorpe. Get rid of that as a permanent road. Absolutely get rid of it. You don't need it. You have James Street. It is extremely ridiculous to have 2 major urban kind of heavy duty roads going around that part of York. It is a massive traffic inducer, so get rid of it. So there's 2 things you do. You get rid of that. James Street, you should calm dramatically anyway and create a solid permanent cycling route through there. But crucially, what you do is also create a complete avenue for cycling and walking. Walking, wheeling, and cycling in that kind of through along there. So the priority, so you actually follow the transport hierarchy. You follow the transport hierarchy. That is the point that is key here. Follow the transport hierarchy. So that's how you do that. How do you create breaks in the fortress walls? Well, that's how you do it. I'm going to pick up some questions, actually, I was going to see. So, yeah, Ryan Hogg is pointing out there's data out there. It's really annoying that I wonder if I can change whether I see names or usernames. Anyway, it's very annoying that you can't. That's fine. So, anyway, Ryan Hogg is saying there's data out there that bike gutters actually increase accidents compared to no markings. Yep, indeed. So, Zydit7875 is saying, what's the route like from the station past the railway lamp hut? It's marked on Google Maps, but not sure if it's actually really viable. It is now, it's easier now that they've done a lot of the work, although it's still work in progress. But you still have the inner ring road running through the middle of it. So you still have a big, busy road with rubbish pedestrian crossing timings running right the way through the middle of it. If that was going to be anything, at minimum, that needs to be a super wide crossing. One of the big ones that's like, 10 meters across and just covered in bright stuff on the road, accessibility friendly, of course, and just basically, and also shouldn't be a timed crossing, should be a zebra crossing, so that it is just absolute and total priority to pedestrians. But they won't do that. They won't do that, of course. They'll never do that. So, what next? So here is York. Here is the inner ring road going in one direction, and here is the inner ring road going the other direction. You can see the 2 gyratories in the form of the mess that they do up at Layerthorpe and around Foss Bank, the horror show at Fishergate, the mess down at the top of Bishy Road, and the horror show near the railway station next to around about Lehman Road-ish area. So what does the do to get rid of that? Well, the way to create the breaks that I've talked about. So, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. This is the breaks in the inner ring road we just talked about. We've talked about one massive section of inner ring road being got rid of, and another section being sort of annulled, as it were, and moved out to James Street. So, what do? You make the inner ring road one way. So this is not totally getting rid of the inner ring road. This enables you, by the inner ring road being one way, it allows you to calm traffic much more effectively because there's no face-to-face conflict. Everything's moving in the same direction. It allows you to control those flows much better, and it also allows you to do something else, which we'll talk about momentarily. So what you can do is make the inner ring road one way. This is the tool that means that you don't totally break you don't totally break York off the bat. You still enable people to get across the hospital if they need to, X, Y, Z. And how do you avoid the rest of York turning into a rat run? Because if you've turned that, people are then going to be like, well, stuff this, I'm going to go through all those other roads and go the other way around, go anti-clockwise. How do you stop that from happening? You cellularize York. Turn York into a cellular city. Now, I think you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells, which conveniently, by the way, each have their own park and ride. So in a way, we've created the infrastructure to allow us to do this. Also neatly with York, with the fact that it's a very radial city, it's a very clock-faced city, we have lots of nice physical features that allow you to do this, like railways, like the River Ouse, like the DVLR, that allow you to create these cells and actually chop the city up into useful sections where what I mean by cellular city is you cannot pass from one cell into the other. The only way to do it is either going to the inner ring road or coming out to the outer ring road, to the bypass. That's the only way. So you cannot drive through York between cells. You can only do in or out. You cannot drive between cells. This also means that you make sure that everything within each cell, you have everything people need. Park and ride means that you can create hubs, and then you will have a single prioritized public transport corridor that goes in, which you can do for each of these cells very usefully. It works. It works really well. By the way, for the bonus people, not bonus people, but a bonus thing, spot the bits of inner ring road that they were sort of half built a long time ago. This is the Kingsway. One here, one here. It's kind of fun spotting the two bits of Kingsway that were built and then very much nothing happened with them. It's kind of interesting to look at that. Anyway, it's good that Seprasphere has picked up. Seprashire. Sepra is here. Oh, I missed when I could just see people's names. I think Ghent is a cellular city. Yes. Attempting this in the UK would result in the press screaming war on the motorists. So politically hard. Yeah. And what you do with the press who say that. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. That's why I muted that. My wife, who's currently in the house, is looking over at me in horror. No, she's not. She doesn't know that I have a actionable threat button on my machine here, which is good. So you can't even see me winking or pointing because you've not got my face on. Look, it's me here. I'm winking over at my wife, who's still in the house while I'm doing a rail. This is the first time you sat through an entire rail now and endured me yakking on, isn't it? There's a thumbs up from my dear darling. No, I have an actionable threat button that saves me from the lawyers down here, Dean. It's very good. So if I, for example, say to so we're safe. There we go. Anyway, so where was I? Having too much fun. Right, turn York into a cellular city. Yes, Ghent is indeed the model. When I was with York Cycle Campaign, we brought in the Mayor of Ghent to talk about how this works. Park and ride in York is not good enough. It can be improved. It is great, but it needs to be much better. A lot of the out-of-town retail is a problem, frankly, but generally most of it's tied to a park and ride. But I think this is something that, again, we can improve greatly. There's more to be done on park and ride. 24/7 operation doesn't have to be the same intensity the whole time, but yes, there's a lot we can do. So, turning York into a cellular city is the way that we fix those problems. And there are lots of interesting opportunities in terms of what this looks like. These plans are things I've worked up, by the way. There's much more detail behind this, and it's not finished either. But the other thing this allows you to do is maximize the amount of pedestrianisation in the centre of York as well. So rather than it being a funny little patch in the corner that's about as convenient as you can get away with, you actually turn. So you talk about Ghent and its pedestrianisation, but also I think a lot about Bruges, because York could be like Bruges, and I love Bruges. York could be like Bruges if we only, there's stuff going on the river. So there's lots of urban realm stuff you need to do, like not make all the shops have their arses facing the river. You start actually having the river as a glorious thing that you celebrate rather than ignore. Oh, I did this already. So yeah, the centre of York is kind of zone 1, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that's 6 cells around the centre, or 7 cells if you count the city centre, bounded by the outer ring road. And it's not that I'm ignoring the areas outside the outer ring road. Those absolutely need to be part of those cores and corridors as well. But it's all about the transport hierarchy, folks. What opportunities does this unlock? Yeah, well, unending. So look like this allows you to bring people can start getting in and out of the city. You still have challenges of Micklegate Bar. I think there's still a major gap, and York Central is not, the connections into the city aren't good enough, but being improved. For me, a really great example is on the left is the kind of the end of the River Foss, one of my favourite bits of York. But it's a dingy place where people go and have a bit of peace and quiet to take some drugs, which is nice. But there's, for me, an enormous opportunity wasted here. There's a car park at the back of the telephone exchange. There is, and this is the end, by the way, of one of the potential quiet ways that you come along the. It's not accessible because we privatized a bunch of land next to the foss as well, and they've created a path that doesn't actually connect through. That's level, and I could scream. But on the left-hand side is this spot in York that is totally... by the way, on the other side of the river is Fossgate and all the bars, and there's Brew York and all sorts of stuff, but that also doesn't make use of the fact that it's on the Foss, which is a canalised bit of river. You look on the other side, that's Camden. And it's all the same geography and potential. And yet, Camden is an absolute thriving hub of energy and life. And this grubby, messy end of the Foss is the precise opposite. This is one of the bits that made the highways officers go, huh. After I told them they'd been doing an absolutely horrible job of doing urban design in York for the last 25 years. I would say that the opportunities, it's not so much what opportunities does this unlock. I would say what opportunities doesn't this unlock. I would say that the ceiling is way, way infinitely above the heads of people who live in York. York is a city that has so much potential and so little of it is realised. It's staggering. It really is absolutely staggering. The river. That river is a bit green. Yeah, it's part of the problem of being canalised. It doesn't move enough, so it sits static and just gets grim. Tom S is saying, "Do love Brew York. Have a stag do there." Brew York is very good, particularly the fact that it has yuzu is very, very nice food as well. Loads of opportunities with the Foss. It just looks ignored. Yeah, 100%, Jim the Chair. Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Selby. Catching up a bit late. Micklegate bar signals have been rephased. Now include 2 pedestrian phases in the cycle. Ooh, it's not as long a wait. Good to know, Stephen Selby. That's a good bit of intel. I like that. Cells. The desire to turn York into a prison city is how we get our sick kicks. Cells. Thanks, oh my god, I missed the. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, no, we're gonna everyone. So for anyone watching this who's angry about this, yeah, what we're gonna do is create York is gonna be a prison, and everyone's gonna be trapped. That's exactly what we're gonna do. You're all gonna be trapped. Now, a reminder that the only thing that people won't be allowed to move between the cells is cars. People will be allowed to move through those cells. Buses will be allowed to move through. Cycles, wheelchairs, scooters, just not private cars at the bottom of the transport hierarchy. Everyone else will be able to do what they please in whichever direction they like. It's just the cars, the movement of cars, the 2-ton boxes that we're stopping, and all the goods vehicles, and so on. And so 15-minute cells, who knows? Yeah, the panopticon. We're creating the Roman panopticon. Wait a minute, panopticon's Greek, isn't it? Anyway, right, let's have fun with that. Right, enough of me yakking. So, bonus episode. Look, it's a colourful bonus episode thumbnail this week. 5 hydrogen first. I'm going to talk about it. And in doing so, I'm going to talk about why I have this headboard that was on a 66 and it was on a 93 actually. Sorry, this headboard that was attached to a Class 93 a few hours ago. Why I have this in my bedroom? Actually, it's not my bedroom, activity room. But anyway, why that is in here. I'll be telling you all about that. On the bonus, which you can watch if you are a subscriber to the £5 and above Patreon tier. So do that if you want some fun. No, 5 hydrogen first. Let's talk about what that is. Talk about hydrogen, talk about some context, and have some giggles in the process. Oh, look, it's me saying goodbye, but the sound is screwed again. But this is after the event. The event is finished. You'll notice I'm wearing my NCT APT GarethDennis.co.uk/merch hat. Plug. But there's the whole train. Look, it's 3 Meg Cs. It's a Class 66 that was fueled on HVO, by the way. And the other direction is the 08H, which you just saw over my shoulder, and the 93 that's next to it, which you can also see, looking extremely Thunderbirds 2 with the Euro style. I don't know what I'm saying. Probably nothing of value, but because the sound is knackered, you can enjoy me talking. Katie is saying, take my money. Marvellous. People need one of those. Spacing on the sign seems off to me. The kerning isn't quite what I would have. Yeah, it's laid out in sand with little templates, so it's not quite. It's fine. It's fine. Also, it's viewed from oh, look, it's me holding the thing and a coffee cup. And it's a Geopura Meg C. Thank you to Geopura. Thank you to Freightliner. Thank you to everyone who was involved in this event. It was tremendous fun, and we did a lot of good stuff. There's some electric vehicles in the background, including a nice little Network Rail EV. There's me grinning inanely. My last reminder before I sign off, of course, is vote for the Railway Engineering Institution. If you're a PWI member, the time is now. Go and vote. You have the link in your emails. Check your spam. Make it happen, folks. I'll be so sad if by, only 2 weeks away. If in 2 weeks the PWI is retained, I'm going to be extremely upset. Also, yes, the 810s are running today. Those which were run on test tracks, yes. So, it only remains for me to say, what is next week? Very good question. I have absolutely no idea. We've got a few things I want to pick through next week, or in the upcoming episodes. So that I'll have a little dig through and pick a thing that looks fun. And yes, I have 1,000 guests that I want to get on, and my brain is now a little bit clearer now this event has happened, so I should be able to get in and book some of those. Anyway, enough of this. Right, everyone, at what point do I introduce the trams? That's for a future episode. Everyone, take very good care of yourselves. See those of you for the bonus at 21:30. Cheerio, cheerio.